Since the season's about to start, we can kind of break it down. And I was actually going through it today. The one nice thing about the 60-game season is you can kind of go game by game, like NFL, and say win, loss, win, loss. So we'll go the Chicago teams because that's really all we care about for right now. Then we can go broader picture. Going through, I had 32 wins for the White Sox. I have them winning 32 out of the 60. And I have the Cubs going 31 and 29 overall.
Honestly,
I have the Sox coming. I have the Sox coming second in the Central behind the Twins, and I actually think the Sox could win more games than 32. But the Twins kind of slow them down a little bit because they play them a ton in the division. So those series against the Twins are going to be crucial to tipping the balance because they have a bunch of layup games, so they're going to win 2 of 3, 3 of 4 against the Tigers and Royals. And then in the NL Central, they play the Pirates a couple times, who aren't all that great. So those will be a couple W's for them. And the Cubs, I think they'll split, if not win the majority of those. So I'm pretty optimistic. The Twins are the one roadblock. I have the Sox sneaking into the playoffs, but being second in the division. Cubs, on the other hand, I have them actually finishing with that 31 and 29 record. I have them finishing second as well, or third behind the Reds and Cardinals. I think they'll beat out the Brewers and the Pirates. So we'll see, but.
I'm sure your White Sox fandom had nothing to do with those predictions.
Now I'll tell you what had something to do. The Cubs. Well, you go ahead, make your point.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting though because looking at a lot of other predictions, it's very, very interesting because honestly, I think there's only 3 teams that are not going to win a division by like 2 games. You know. I think the Yankees, let's see, who is it? The Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Astros are my 3, and I don't even know about them because, like you said, it's a 60-game, 2-month sprint. But it really is going to come down to like 1 game, 2 games.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have right now, I think the Cubs are in the 30 to 33 range, which is interesting because you get 33, you might win the division. If you get 30, you might miss the playoffs, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, looking at the Cubs roster, when we said it last year, which last year was just a myriad of different things that affected the season, injuries, coaching needed to be changed, et cetera, et cetera. But, we talked about it, I think it was last podcast with the Cubs. I think the core 4 of Contreras, Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez, I think, the Cubs obviously know, Cubs players, management know that there might be 1 or 2 of those names not there next season.
Yep.
And honestly, I think the Cubs have they have a good chance. I think it's going to be a coin flip between them and the Cardinals. I think the Reds are good, but I think I think them winning the division or beating the Cubs is a little ahead of schedule.
Maybe. Here's where I would argue with you, and it's not just my White Sox homerism that had me picking them with a better record. Here's what I had factoring into it. Going to the Reds, you look at that lineup. Castellanos, as you guys got to witness firsthand, he's a lineup changer. Like, that lineup is dangerous. You have Suarez, you have Votto. Like, they got some thumpers up and down that lineup, and the pitching staff is still pretty good. I also look at the fact that we'll go strictly to the Cubs. I think the Cardinals, they won the division last year. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But the Cubs, I don't care. Not necessarily. I think, the Cubs and Cardinals will be in a race for second. I think I got the Reds winning that division. They're going to be my dark horse pick to win. But the Cubs will be right there. But my problems with them would be, number 1, that core 4, like you mentioned. It's kind of the last hurrah. And one of the guys in the 4, Anthony Rizzo, he's having back problems. You don't know what we're going to be able to get out of him as he gets older. And with the back, that's kind of a crippling...
He's not old by any means.
No, but the older you get, he's dealt with back problems throughout his career. And the older you get, the worse it kind of is. And now you don't have the luxury of, like, he would get a day off once in a while because he's having a back problem. Where now with 60 games, every game matters. You kind of need him. You need him out there as one of, like, your leaders. That's one issue.
I think you could bring up I'm sure you're going to talk about the bullpen. I'm sure you're going to talk about the starting rotation. Anthony Rizzo's injury problems, for two reasons, I don't think are concerned. First of all, he was taking batting practice the other day. It's back tightness. It's not going to be that big of an effect.
Something to keep an eye on.
Second thing is last year, the Cubs went down to the freaking finish when it came to making the playoffs, and they didn't get it done. Anthony Rizzo, with like 9 games left, had a horrific ankle sprain, and he was back in the lineup like 2 days later.
Yeah, he was a warrior. He was a warrior. I respect the man. No, he's not. But you know what else happened? They blew it down the stretch. They lost a bunch of games. And he probably wasn't at 100%. And when you're in a tight situation where they struggle in runners in scoring position and you're up there with a nagging back injury, it's kind of tough to hit a ball out of the ballpark. So is he going to be healthy? Is he going to play this year? Yes, that's something to keep an eye on. That's the first one. You alluded to my second 2 points. Number 2, and this is the huge one. Their bullpen stinks. Your closer looks like an arsonist who's giving up bombs left and right. He's getting humiliated in camp. It's his second year in a row. He hasn't had a spring training, which is a problem. His fastball has lost a couple miles per hour. And other than Kimbrel stinks. I wouldn't trust him. Who else? Rowan Wick? You going to trust him in a bid situation? I don't think so. I mean, there's not a whole lot. Wick's probably the second best guy in your bullpen.
Huh?
I think Wick's probably the second best pitcher in your bullpen, and I wouldn't trust him in any high-leverage situation.
Stuff-wise, it's Dylan Maples.
Maybe, but like he's still pretty young.
Well, that's the thing. On paper, the Cubs bullpen doesn't look that great because a lot of names you don't know, which will lose. Look, last year's bullpen clearly didn't get the job done. I think last year's bullpen was better than what the record showed. I cannot express to you how big bullpen injuries affected last season. Like it was. I mean, Kinsler was a really good reliever, got injured, we're in a tight race, tossed him in the lineup. That's what happened, and he stunk it up because he didn't get the time he needed to heal up.
That Jeffries Jeremy Jeffries, he wasn't that good last year for the Brewers. He was horrible. I think he had like a 6-something ERA, so that's kind of like a project right there.
But the thing about this year is there's a lot of guys, Adbert Alzolay, Dylan Maples, Alec Mills, Rowan Wick, they had that Brad Week guy.
Yeah.
They're all farm guys. They're all young, and it's just going to come down to, are they major league ready? And I think that's
all right. You have your AAA bullpen plus the arsonist back there when you're facing Castellanos in a late game situation. You're blowing a lot of 4-2 leads in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. You know, finally the third problem. The starting pitching, there's been some concerns about the depth there to begin with and how everyone would perform. And you lost Jose Quintana, who you traded a bunch of resources for. He got hurt washing the dishes. And you listen to Jed Hoyer and Theo speak. They kind of, you can hear some concern there. You're going to have to throw a guy, it's going to be some spot starts making up for his spot. Who's the kid that pitched a couple games last year? He has pretty good stuff, but...
Adbert Alzolay?
Yeah, Adbert Alzolay. He kind of got knocked around. He's one of those guys I see that can only go, he gets through like once through the order, and then guys kind of like, they figured him out. So, like, I don't know how many innings you're going to be getting out of him. And it's a season where every game matters, and you're going to have one game where you're having a bullpen game and a bunch of inexperienced, untested guys. That's going to be an issue there. So that's the third problem I have with the roster. Now, the guys are, you're going to win 30 to 31 games. You're going to be in the race just because I have so much respect for, like, you got the Schwarbers and your Baez's and your Bryants, but, like, there's too many big question marks there and that where I don't see them winning the division.
I think when you look at the Cubs, I think obviously there are problems, like you said. When you're looking at the starters, though, Kyle Hendricks, one of the most underrated pitchers in the game.
He's reliable.
He's not reliable. He's absolutely fantastic. He threw a 93 game.
He's good.
93 pitch full game last. I mean, the dude is on top of his game. Yu Darvish has been in the lab. He has 11 pitches he can throw right now. And the second half of the season, he was on fire last year.
Yeah, but there's still
IL, but he'll be back soon.
Will he though? I don't know. I don't know if he will be back soon enough, and John Lester is notorious for getting off to slow starts. He kind of needs a while to ramp things up, and he's not going to have time to do that.
He's the fourth starter. I mean, you look at who's the White Sox fourth starter?
Well, let's look at, we'll talk about the White Sox rotation. That rotation's deep. They got a couple of guys who could be the fourth starter. You got Giolito as your 1. You got Dallas Keuchel as a 2. Then you could probably go either Ronaldo Lopez or Dylan Cease, 2 pretty young arms, and Ronaldo's been up and down. Dylan Cease has got some good stuff. There's Gio Gonzalez, who he's a reliable veteran. He has had some pretty good years.
See, okay, I get.
You got.
We want to go reliable veteran. That's John Lester. The fourth starter is not a huge deal. I know it's a shortened season, but I think you're being a little biased when you cherry pick John Lester, a 3-time World Series championship. Yes, he's getting old. Yes, he had problems last year, but he's a fighter. He pitches.
Okay, here's the difference though.
Tyler Chatwood is our fifth starter.
Here's the difference.
And he had a revamped season last year.
Yes, I'll give you that. And I think the Cubs rotation, top to bottom, maybe as of right now, maybe a little bit better than the White Sox. But the White Sox have some young guys like Cease. We don't know what he can be. Giolito, I think, is just going to be better. Keuchel was good last year in a shortened year. So I think you have some reliable guys there. But they have a bullpen that they're going to be able to close things out and lean on that is good. Good teams have good bullpens, and this White Sox bullpen is good from top to bottom. Alex Colomé was, I think, 4th in the league in saves last year. He was excellent. He should have been an all-star. At one point, he had like a sub-2 ERA. He was like 1-something ERA with like 27 saves at the midpoint of the season. Then on top of that, you got Aaron Bummer, who was excellent. They signed him to a contract extension. He was really good in the back end. You got a good lefty there. You got Steve Cishek, who was used a ton last year by the Cubs, and he had like a 250-something ERA, 260, which was really good. 2.75. That's pretty darn good considering he had like 150 appearances. I will take him any day of the week.
I mean, yeah, he was used a ton down the stretch, and did the Cubs make the playoffs, or did we blow like 10 games out of 15?
Hey, we also got Evan Marshall.
Crunch time.
I like Evan Marshall. He had a good year last year. They got some arms in that back. Jimmy Cordero, he throws smoke. He always got his sleeve rolled up with the big guns. I like Jimmy. You got some guys. Jimmy Lambert might be called up this year. They got a lot of arms that are pretty good. Like I like the bullpen a lot.
Okay. I'm not going to dispute any of the things that you said. But you said White Sox got a good rotation. We got Dylan Cease.
Yeah, I like Dylan Cease. Yeah, that's a top prospect.
He's not good. But you talk about Adbert Alzolay, last year he got knocked around a bit. He couldn't go that far. Dude, Dylan Cease is a better prospect, but they're like production-wise, MLB-wise, they're the same thing. Adbert Alzolay just got called up too early because we had injuries.
Ceiling's higher.
Literally,
Dylan Cease got knocked around a little bit.
You're being biased when you talk about. You say, these guys, he's going to come up this year. Dude, that's a whole rotation. I'm not saying that the Cubs have a better bullpen, and I am saying that they have a better starting rotation. But the way you talk about justify your point.
Third factor.
We are talking about to justify your point.
Or fourth factor.
Extremely biased.
Okay, fourth factor. Most of the games are against the opposing Centrals. Okay, so in the NL Central, you're going to be facing the Brewers, who are tough. You got the Reds, who, like I said, they're my dark horse pick to win the division. You got the Cardinals, who are tough.
Okay, hold on. Going back to the Reds, you don't got to talk. I think the Cubs is between the Cardinals and the Cubs. And you don't got to talk to me about the Reds because I've been on the Reds train since last year. I picked them
That's before they got Moustakas and Castellanos. That was a horrible pick last year. We don't even go down that road. That pick stunk.
I'm not saying – I literally just said I was wrong, but I had recognized their talent but last year. So you don't got to preach to me about how the Reds got their starting pitcher, Luis Castillo, because I already know he's good.
And Sonny Gray and Trevor Bauer.
But I think right now, I think a lot of the Reds' talent, I was one of the causing factors. I think I overhyped them a little bit, and I think they have some guys they're in the middle of having guys on the way out. When you talk about Votto and the dude with the massive biceps, so I forget his name. Looks like a douchebag.
Oh, Derek Dietrich. Derek Dietrich is not on the way out. No, Derek Dietrich's
on the way
mash.
Out, and they got some signings, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
No. Mike Moustakas rakes. Joey Votto, tremendous first baseman. Probably the 10th best first. He has gotten older, but he's still. I would put my money on him being in the top 10, 10th best first baseman.
If he was on the Cubs, you'd say he's near retirement. Don't give me that.
Anthony Rizzo, right now, back injury and all, I would put him in the top 5 first baseman all of baseball. So that is not true. Okay. All right, so I'm not being biased here, but yet that division's a lot tougher than the Central, where you have the Twins who are tough. The Indians are going to be kind of tough, but you got 2 cellar dwellers with the Royals and Tigers that you're going to be beating up on a lot. So, I mean, that helps our cause, too. And I didn't even get to the fact that lineup for the White Sox is going to be so good this year. It's the worst, if you just look at the batting order. Leading off, you're going to have the reigning AL Central batting champ. Second or third, you could probably have Yoan Moncada, who could have been an all-star. I think he'll just get better. Then you got Jose Abreu, led the league in RBIs. Edwin Encarnacion has hit 30 homers his past 8 years or something. So you're getting production there. Eloy Jimenez, we already know what he can do. I mean, he's a young prospect. He hit 31 homers as a rookie, and I don't even think he had that great of a year last year. So it's only going to go up from there. Then you got Yasmani Grandal, who can hit homers. He gets on base, which is nice. Then you got Nomar Mazara, who's got a lot of upside. Luis Robert, I didn't even get to, is going to be the Rookie of the Year this year. He's raking all over the ballpark. Our worst hitter is going to be probably Leary Garcia, who hit 298 last year. And if not him, we'll have Nick Madrigal in, who struck out only 16 times in the minors. So that lineup, top to bottom, is a lot deeper with the Cubs. And you got some thumpers at the top. I don't dislike the Cubs lineup, but you're going to have a Kipnis in there, who, I don't know how good he's going to be, at second.
That is not. I mean, if you really want to go, top to bottom Cubs, Chris Bryant leading off. He's MVP, one of the most well-rounded players in the game right now.
Fine. No argument there.
What?
No argument there. Continue.
Yeah, and I'm in no particular order. I don't know the exact matter. You got Javier Baez, who's Javier Baez. And you got Anthony Rizzo, who's Anthony Rizzo. And you got Wilson Contreras, one of the best offensive catchers in the game. Our backup's Caratini. He can play DH, or we can have Schwarber, who hit 30-some bombs last year at DH.
Before you continue, you know who our backup catcher is? Former All-Star James McCann last year. That's our backup catcher.
James McCann is a bum. He's past his
All-Star
prime.
game, baby. All right, continue. So we got depth too.
You got at second base. You got Nico Horner, one of the really good upcoming guy, and then you got Jason Hayward, who people love to hate on, hit 21 bombs last year. It was his best season in a long time. And if you look at his stats, when he wasn't in the leadoff position, which our mastermind of a manager, Joe Madden, put Jason freaking Hayward in the leadoff spot. His numbers outside of that were really good. Then you got Happ and Almora. You can flip a coin between those two guys. And
because they both stink. Almora is great defensively, but I don't think you're getting much production from him. Or I don't think Happ's any world beater either.
They're the 9-hitter. He's the worst hitter in the lineup. I don't need Almora to be an all-star. I need him to hit 240 and above. I don't really care that much. Ian Happ, just get a couple pinch hits here and there, and I'll be fine with you. You just flip a coin. Who's hot that day? So, I mean, if you want to go top to bottom, I think the Cubs have a better lineup.
I don't know. No.
In 5 years, in
depth-wise,
2 years from now?
Depth-wise, it's not close. Not even close. Top to bottom, no way. Maybe you could argue they're top 5. Maybe. I mean, and even there's a couple of coin flips. Rizzo overall, better first baseman than Abreu, but I'll take Abreu batting any day. I think Abreu's a better hitter. He had more home runs last year. He had more RBIs.
You said it on podcast about 8 times this year.
Abreu is a stud. He's the most underrated player in baseball. He does not get enough respect. Even on this team, you listen to all the White Sox players, the previews, it's all about Luis Robert, which I'm fine with, and Eloy, and Tim. Tim's getting all this credit. No one ever talks about Jose. Good old reliable. Shows up to work every day with his lunch pail and just hits dingers and drives in runs.
All right, well, I'm going to end by saying that we got World Series champs who those guys show up to work every day.